Retracted. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just a minute. I'll just share the link. Okay. Fine. Not sure how many are. Yeah. Very good morning. Very good morning. So go after pretty long time. Yeah. I'm not sure whether such a long vacation, shall I call it vacation? I think a layout period. Almost you're also quarantined at home, unable to come to school, unable to meet your friends, unable to attend the classes, not even able to play around or shout around. Must be missing a lot, right? Now, I thought, I'll just ask you one or two things. How many of you have a pet at home? There are two questions to start with. Again, we'll be talking about a story. That's it. There are hardly 8 people online. I expected more participants. How many of you have pet at home? You have, Prajwal. Fine, fine, fine. Good. This is one question. Now, a pet becomes almost a part of the family. You may have a quarrel with your daddy. Your daddy might have a quarrel with your mommy. But none of you will have a quarrel with the pet. Because pet, as the word says, petted by everyone. This is question one. Forget that. We'll come to that later. The next is, how many of you have the problem with, food forcing habit of your mummy? You say, mummy, enough, enough. And then mummy says, come on, have one more, have one more. And you just continue to eat. Do you have that problem? You say, no, no, enough, enough. And your mommy says, no, some more, a little more, a little more. That compulsion. Yeah, your mommy doesn't say that. But I know quite a number of loving mothers, they feel that a little more is always good. Maybe if your sister is getting 1 spoon of ghee less, probably you will be getting 1 spoon of ghee more. Or if you're a non-vegetarian, if your dad is not getting the leg piece, definitely you will be getting it because moms love. You can't deny that, right? Overeating, overfeeding, and that too. Just imagine during this long holidays, you eat a lot. Yeah. You get it at slyly. Maybe your mommy might tell you, "Don't tell daddy." Have this slyly. Yeah, you have that extra leg piece and all that for you if you're a non-veg. And if you're a vegetarian, yeah, some food in a hidden way will definitely reach your plate, right? Uh, and during these days, how many of you think you have lost weight? Or how many of you think you have put on a bit of weight? I'm sure not even one would say I have lost weight. On the other hand, I'm sure that more than 70 to 80% of you'll be ready to say, sir, I have put on my weight. I do not know I have gained some weight. That's true. Yeah, Shiv Prasad, we know it. Get your belly down.
Yes, reduced.
Yeah, it happens. You try out your uniform. You see, then you will know whether you have become fat or not. You try out your uniform today. So sometimes what happens, what do you think as healthy food becomes a curse? You eat in the morning, afternoon, evening, and night, at least 4 times a day or 5 times a day. Prajwal, you have lost weight? Yeah. Try your uniform, then let me know tomorrow or day after. Yeah, improved. Okay, good. The problem is that we think it is good and we continue to consume it. Ghee is good. As a result, in your monthly budget to your provision store, you will find 1 kg of ghee extra during these holidays. So this also becomes a problem. Now we are going to talk about a pet dog. What is the problem with the pet dog? That's what we are going to see. Just I'm talking about a piece written by one veterinary doctor. His name is James Harriet, and he has written quite a number of books. And each anecdote is about some pet, a pet that he visited, or a pet that visited him along with the owner, the kind of a bonding, the love between man and pet. Yeah, overfeeding. The problem with animals is that, especially dogs, they normally do not say no to food. It's ever hungry. Whatever you give, whenever you give, that's what it is. Now, as I was telling you, James Harriet, not just that. Now this is into extensive reading. Do not bother much about the vocabulary. You need to read a little more on your own also, because, reading day is also coming. You must read. And it's a joy by itself. This is a joy, and reading is yet another joy. I want you to read through the first paragraph of that and see the actual problem the dog is facing. Remember, the pet owners, they do not even like to call it a dog. They would say only by the name. So don't call it a dog. Now we have the dog here, and go through the first paragraph of this, the triumph of surgery. Well, is surgery needed or not is something that is left to the doctor to decide. But we'll find out what the problem with the dog is. Go through it if you have the book. And you don't have, I've already told you, it's better you have the downloaded PDF. I've already, last time also, I've shared the link. You don't have the textbook, download the PDF version from NCRT and have it. And it's always nicer to go through it before the class itself, so that you'll have some questions to ask. Now I am asking you, I'll just read it for you, the first paragraph, and then I will ask you the question. Now here I refers to James Harriet, the veterinary doctor. Yeah, was really worried about Tricky this time. The doctor was worried about Tricky this time. Really worried. What's the problem? I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. How did he look like? You can imagine. He had become hugely fat. If you have a pencil, underline that. That's basically the core word you need to remember. Hugely fat, like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. So you can imagine the kind of a dog, a fat, a meat piece with the 4 legs, pitch in each corner. That is how he looked. His eyes, bloodshot red and watery. No, actually, I do not know. You'll have to find out. Somebody told me dogs have about 3 layers of eyelid. I came to know of it hardly around 2, 3 days back. I have not confirmed it, but I'm sharing with you. Dogs' tears, they don't shed tears, they don't cry as such, but still, the tear naturally means there is absolutely something wrong with their appetite, their food habits. Fine. His eyes, bloodshot and roomy. Roomy means watery. Stared straight up ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. Tongue was lolling out. So, what is the problem? So fat. So fat for the 4 legs to carry. That was the problem. Overfeeding. Somebody has said it. Prajwal. Yeah. Overeating. And is it the dog's fault or the owner's fault? What do you think? Suppose you look at a dog like that, bloating. Do you think it is the fault of the dog or fault of the owner? At least I want 1 or 2 responses. Right. Let's see. In this case, whose fault it is. So, Harriet wants to know from the owner whether she has reduced overfeeding. Mrs. Pomfrey hastened to explain. He was so listless, Mr. Harriet. Listless means energyless, without any energy, dull. He looked very dull. According to me, it's the owner's. Yeah, true. He's so listless, all people who love, they say that. Probably if you ask your mom, Mommy, have I put on weight? Your mommy will definitely say, not at all, beta, you have lost a few kgs. Even if you have gained 15 kgs, your mom will never say you have become fat because of the love. So here also you see, Mrs. Pomfrey, she says, he was very listless and therefore he seemed to have no energy. So I thought he is suffering from malnutrition. So I have been giving him some little extras, not normal food, some little extras between meals to build him up, not just food. Between the meals, some little extra to swallow. What all? Some malt, cod liver oil, and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. After giving so much, she says, no, I didn't give much, only cod liver oil, some malt, some Horlicks. Not much. I have not given much. Now you understand what the problem is? The problem lies in overfeeding. Is it over? Now you can understand basically the problem is not of overeating. The problem is of excess love. When you have too much of love also, that becomes a kind of a problem. At times you need to know when to be strict. Because being strict is also a form of love. Pampering alone is not love. And here we find that pampering. Mrs. Pomfrey has been pampering her pet so much. And did you cut down the sweet things I told you? I asked you to stop giving sweets. Have you done it? Oh, I did for a bit. But he seemed to be so weak. I had to agree. I stopped because you said I stopped a bit. But then he appeared very weak. So I felt very pity. So again, sweet continues. Remember, between meals, malt, Yeah. Loving. Good. Meals. In between meals, mouth, and what else? Cod liver oil. And then at night, bowl of Horlicks and sweets. Now do you understand why? What the problem with the dog is? Not even overeating. That's what I'm saying. Over pampering by the mistress. Well, are you giving him plenty of exercise? Yeah, this is one more thing that I have to ask you. During this lockdown time, yeah, you're not coming to school. You must be having, tremendous food time, enjoying your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How many of you get into exercise, going onto the terrace, and then doing some work? Have you done? Are you doing exercise? Let me know about what you are doing. But what about the dog? The dog has to be taken for a walk. And here says, he has little walks with me, as you can see, with the mistress. The dog goes for a walk, a little walk. And what is the problem with otherwise? I don't have a pet, sir. Okay, you are being petted. Uh, but Hawking, the gardener, has been down with lumbago. Lumbago means, the lower back, any kind of a pain associated with the lower back. So there has been no ring throwing lately, no exercise at all, a little walk only. So, lot of food, no exercise. That is a problem with the dog. I try to sound a little severe because as a doctor, I love to be a little strict, and I had to tell her, now really I mean this, if you don't cut his foot right down and give him more exercise, it's going to be really, really bad. That's a medicine. Cut down the foot, give more exercise. That's a must. Mrs. Pumphrey wrung her head. Oh, what do I do? Oh, I will, Mr. Harriet. I'm sure you're right. But it's so difficult, so very difficult. She gets set off, head down along the road, as if determined to put the new regime into practice immediately. So as if she was going to do it immediately. Now on. No, lesser foot, a lot of exercise. As if she had decided to do it from that second, she started moving. I watched her progress with a growing concern. The concern is not just because of the food, but because James Harriet knew that this lady, Pumphrey, pampers a lot, and she's not going to cut down the food, nor is she going to give adequate exercise to the pet. I said, Doctor, Harriet is a little worried. There is only one remedy to this. Take him away from pampering. No more petting around. That would solve most of the problems. Then Tricky was tottering along his tweed coat. Again, this para, you will understand how much she was pampering this pet. Tricky was tottering along in his tweed coat. A tweed is a woolen coat. So he had a woolen coat. Wonderful. We don't have. But this Tricky's lucky pet has got a woolen coat. And not just woolen coat. He had a whole wardrobe of these coats. Not one coat. He had a big wardrobe. You know the meaning of wardrobe. And kind of an almirah where you have all the coats. All coats. In that. So how many coats? You can just understand how much he was being looked after. Okay, for the cold weather, another coat. For the rainy weather, yet another coat. So he had quite a lot of hope. He struggled on drooping in the harness, for holding the dog. Apart from the leash, you have what you call the harness, something like a shirt to hold the entire body. It's not always in the neck. In case of bigger sized dogs, you have a harness so that the pressure is not over the neck. So just he was drooping and walking because of overweight. He was walking. He struggled on, drooping in harness. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pampering. I knew very soon I will get a call from Mrs. Pampering. Why? What would be the complaint? Sickness of Tricky. That would be the complaint. I knew the call will come, and the call came within a few days. Mrs. Pampering was distraught. And what is the problem now? Tricky ate nothing. He refused to eat everything, even his favorite dishes. And besides, lot of vomiting. He spent all his time lying on a rug, panting, a long breath, unwilling to eat. That's a problem with them now. Didn't want to go out for a walk at all. Didn't want to do anything. Vomiting, refusing food, lying flat. This is what he was. I had my plans in advance. Even you, am I right? If you had been James Harriet, what would you have done? You know the remedy. Do you think the dog requires a surgery now? Do you think the dog Tricky? Do you think he needs any medicine? And Harriet had decided. Harriet had decided what kind of what kind of treatment has to be given to Tricky. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period, get him hospitalized, and not pamper him, give him lesser food, need a diet. Diet is another word, but let's see. I suggested that he be hospitalized for about a fortnight to be kept under observation. Oh, this is another kind of quarantine, I guess. So this vet, he said, yeah, this is institutional quarantine, not home quarantine. Let him get hospitalized. Come. Let's take him into the hospital. So saying, Harriet decides that this is the way, hospitalization, and see what the treatment now he gives us. The poor lady almost swooned, fainted. Naturally, when somebody is admitted in a hospital, so the old lady just fainted almost. She was sure he would pine and die if he did not see her every day. She thought, in my little Tricky, if he doesn't see me, he will even die. He'll pine and die. That's what she started crying, almost fainted. But I took a firm line. Very strong decision. What was it? Tricky was very ill, and this was the only way to save him. In fact, I thought it best to take him without delay, and followed by Mrs. Pumphrey's wailings. Wailings means crying. She was crying. Oh, he's going to hospital. He's being taken to hospital. Poor little thing. She was crying. But Harriet had decided that hospitalization is the only way now. I marched out to the car, carrying the little dog wrapped in a blanket. So dog is going to hospital. So naturally, the mother feels how lonely, whether he will get enough to eat or not, whether he will get adequate clothing there or not. You see, the next paragraph talks about how much of picnic arrangements she is trying to make for Tricky to the hospital. The entire staff was roused and maids rushed in and out, bringing his day bed, night bed, favorite cushion, toy, rubbering, breakfast bowl, lunch bowl, dinner bowl. Realizing that my car would never hold all the stuff, I started the driveway. Everything. See, day bed also, day bed, night bed. And what about the bowl? Breakfast bowl, lunch bowl, dinner bowl. Everything. Okay, okay. Take everything. Take everything. All the favorite toys, beds, cushions, everything loaded. Now, Harriet, enough. He started the car. Even when he's starting the car, Mrs. Pumphrey, with a despairing cry, threw an armful of little quotes through the window. You know, I mean, Tricky has a number of quotes, a few quotes also dumped inside. I looked in the mirror before I turned the corner of the drive. Everybody was in tears. Almost everybody is crying. Why? He's getting hospitalized naturally. A sad news. Out on the road, I glanced down at the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat. Gasping, when you pour a bucket of cold water over your head, that's like a gasping. I patted the head of the Tricky and made a brave effort to wag his tail. Even wagging the tail was becoming a big task, a big assignment for Tricky. He had become so weak. Poor old lad, I said. You haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. You don't have a kick in you. What's the meaning of kick here? You don't have the josh in you. You don't have that pep in you. I know what to do about you. So he thought, and took him over to the hospital. Now, what kind of treatment is given to him in the hospital? What kind of treatment do you think you will give if you had been a doctor, or if you had been in the place of James Harriet? What kind of treatment would you have given? So that is the next part. I would expect you to read it before I call you next. And, we would not like to have very long online classes, number one. And I do not want, a loss of data for you people. Therefore, all that Zoom and all that, I'm not trying, no Google Meet and all that. Because video streaming from every house, you can understand it's a data loss for your parents also. If we are going to do it in YouTube, it serves this purpose, that only watching this video will be the data expenditure for you, and not of your video upload. So we prefer using this platform for online classes. And I know, and I strongly agree with the people who say that watching the screen for more than 2 hours is not a very good habit. Maybe when your parents said it, you did not accept. You are playing with your mobile. But now, if you are going to have anything more than 2 hours of online class, if you are going to watch, the burden will be on your eyes, number one. Number two, let me tell you, do not forget, it affects your long-term memory. Watching any screen continuously, even if it is a movie, TV and all that, it affects your long-term memory. I can scientifically can tell you how it does. So avoid watching too much of TV. And there are, educational apps like Diksha. Use it, but to the minimum. And participate in good competitions. Come out well. And I'm sorry that, in a remote district like Bagalkot, we do not have all the students having access to a laptop or a computer or a broadband connectivity. And most of you depend on data, mobile data only. And that also in a few cases I have received, because that is another thing that we have to consider. One more thing is that somebody tells me that after 11, I go to office, sir. Only in the evening I come back. Only in the evening, my son, my daughter will be able to use my mobile. This is also a case. Whatever your feedback, Please share it with Shireen in the WhatsApp group. I'll get the feedback. Whatever needs to be done, but we have to go. We have to slowly. The new normal has come into effect. We have to accept it. But accept not too long classes, very short classes, or will very soon because our own teachers are home quarantined. So within a day or two, all other subjects also will be including. But just about 2 to 2.5 hours, not more than that. But now nobody stops you, nobody prevents you from reading a book. And I will not say reading a book affects you. Never. It doesn't. Yeah, it affects you. It takes away the ignorance from your mind and enlightens you. Wish you a happy day ahead. We'll see tomorrow. Okay then? Bye.